Last week, we got back to basics about how to sit, and I took you through the setup for a mental noting practice. If you weren't here for that, it doesn't matter. And also, it's available to you online if you want to go back and check it out. But last week, we moved away from our usual structure a little bit, and we moved between a little bit of instruction and a little bit of sitting. And I'd like to do that again today so that we can build on the foundation and get into the vipassana or insight aspect of what we're doing here. Now that I've told you that, you might take a moment to see what reaction arises in you. So maybe you're like, yeah, that sounds good. I'm ready. Let's try it out. Let's practice. Or maybe you're annoyed because your sit got interrupted more quickly than you expected. Or maybe you wanted to hear a regular Dharma talk like we usually do, and you're feeling disappointed and frustrated. It's good practice to see what comes up, whether we're sitting or not. So for me, one of the huge benefits of practicing is that I get in the habit of being reflexively interested in what is going on inside me and in my reactions to things. If you're a sciencey person, we can talk about it in terms of neural pathways, the connections in our brains that get stronger every time we repeat a pattern of thought or behavior. Like if you're crossing a field and there's a path that's beaten down because people have gone that way over and over again, it's so much easier to cross by walking on the field than it is to beat a new path through the tall grass. And in many cases, making a new path doesn't even occur to us because why would we? There's already a path through. And it's the same with the connections in the brain. Anyone who has ever tried to change a habit knows this from experience. That's why addiction and recovery world talks about avoiding the people, places, and things that you used to be around when you were engaging in your habit. Because as soon as you see that bar or that guy or that glass, then the pathway is open. Like the pathway through the field is open. And it's 1,000 times easier. It's almost a magical compulsion, almost a possession, like a being possessed, a possession, to just order the thing you regularly order, to do the thing that you usually do. Walking in another direction or ordering a seltzer with lime, it feels like pushing your body through the tall grass in the field to make a new path. It can even feel physically exhausting to do something different than what it is your habit to do. And that's not just for addiction, that is for all habits. And I don't mean bad habits. I mean the things that we're used to doing, just like what we usually do. And vipassana is a habit building practice. We are building the habit of being present and curious to the path that we usually go down. Every time something arises, we get in the habit of asking, what was that? Not in an analytical way, not trying to figure it out, and not in a judgmental way, not like, oh, was that the thing I wanted to happen, or did I want a different thing to happen, or do I want it to be different? Just in a noticing way. Oh, that was like a tingle. That was a thought. That was an unpleasant sound. And the technology that the Buddha discovered for doing this is really remarkable. The Buddha was a trial and error kind of guy. He enjoyed hedonism. He nearly killed himself with asceticism. He followed every good teacher he could find. And then finally, he worked out the mental technology that thousands of people are still using today. And part of what he found is that the mind, just the way it is a great tool for practicing 'Precisely because it does what it does. The fact that your mind most of the time will not stay on your anchor, will not stay on the breath, is the perfect opportunity for you to practice. Now, I kind of like, sometimes I'll tell people I'm a meditation teacher. And when you tell people that you're a meditation teacher, people cannot wait to tell you that they cannot meditate. Like, people tell me all the time, like there's some kind of exception or something, like, oh, it doesn't work for me because my mind is so busy. I can't focus. Like, what we have here is just a room full of people who can focus. Are you guys all just like blissed out like a stock photo on a yoga teacher's website right now? I doubt it. I'm not. Thankfully. Because although that might be a pleasant practice, I don't know, it's never happened to me, but it might be a pleasant practice, it wouldn't get you any closer to freedom. And have you got ADHD? Dude, perfect. You are all set for Buddhahood. You are on that monk's path because you get more opportunities to practice than anybody else. You're going to be beating down that path like a regular bodhisattva. And also, speaking of minds doing that, I am way off track of what I wanted to do today when I prepared this. So let's go back and we will get set up together. First, we settle into a comfortable enough position. I say comfortable enough because the body, its nature isn't to stay comfortable. No matter how you sit, lay down, sooner or later, something's not going to feel great. That's just part of it. But we get a good enough, comfortable enough position. And then gather the attention onto the experience right now. Just intentionally noticing what's already here. And then we find a good enough anchor. No anchor is perfect. No anchor will make your practice perfect. But we get one that's good enough. Maybe listening to sounds in the room. Maybe watching sensations in the body. If you can use the breath, I recommend using the breath. It's not for everybody, but if the breath is good enough, the breath is good enough. And you might just watch the breath going in and out and note in, out, in, out. Or it might be easier for you to hold attention on the anchor if you notice the 4-part breath, the feeling of air coming in through the nostrils, the feeling of air filling the body, the feeling of air leaving the body, and then air going out through the nostrils if that's how you breathe. So just following those 4 parts. And you might count that in and out and. Or you might find it's most skillful for you to count breaths. So you count breaths up to 7 and then begin again. In 1, in 2, in 3, up to 7 and then 1 again. attending to your anchor, not losing track, but also being open to what's here. The teacher Ajahn Chah said to hold your anchor like an egg, not so firmly that you crush it, not so loosely that it rolls away. Other things may come and go, but you're still holding the egg. And at some point, you realize, I'm not holding the egg anymore. I lost it. My mind is doing something else. My attention is somewhere else. This is what Sharon Salzberg calls the magic moment. Pure mindfulness, the return to what is happening in the present. This moment is so rich and so precious. There is so much we can do with it. And the first thing we can do is notice the reaction to it. We talked about this a little bit last week. A pretty typical reaction when you start your meditation practice and you notice that you got lost from the anchor is to be like, oh, damn it, I'm so bad at this. What's wrong with me? Which is good information. Early in my practice, I realized that when I lost the anchor, I would grit my teeth, tense my shoulders, and think something along the lines of, you can do better than this. Interesting. And damn if after a while, I didn't notice that was also how I reacted every time I thought I had screwed up in my life. I would start to recognize that tense feeling in my body. Every time I fell short, some version of, you're supposed to be better than this. And when I wasn't sitting, I got to realize how wild that was as a habitual response. Not only pretty mean to myself, but also like wildly arrogant. I'm supposed to be better than what? Like people? Now, please be careful because there is a trap in here. It can be tempting when you notice your habitual reaction to want to take yourself to mental therapy with yourself to like try to figure it out. How did I get this way? How can I change it? It's not skillful to do this during your sit. Because all it does is reinforce a couple of neural paths that are probably already pretty well maintained in your mind, or at least they are in mine. The path of analysis, of control, and self-improvement. I am not trying to beat these paths down any better. They are already good enough. And of course, eje pasico, try it out for yourself. But for me, those are only roads to suffering. At their root is wishing things, and by things I mean me, were different than they are, which is dukkha, which is suffering. What we're up to here is clear seeing. Clear seeing is another translation of vipassana. Sometimes it's translated as insight, sometimes as clear seeing. We just want to know what's here. We're not here to analyze it. We are definitely not here to change it. We just want to see it. We're trying to get free of suffering. We're trying to walk past that bar so we don't end up with an analysis hangover tomorrow. So there are a few tools that the Buddha and teachers in our Vipassana tradition have taught us for helping to get off the beaten path of analysis and control, trying to make things different than they are. And one of them is limiting your mental notes, limiting the labels you put on the things that arise when you lose the anchor. You can limit your notes to the 4 foundations: body, emotion, thoughts, phenomena. Pretty much anything that pulls you off your anchor is going to belong to one of those 4 categories. It's going to be something in the body, it's going to be a feeling, it's going to be a thought, or it's going to be a phenomenon, something in the environment like a sound or temperature or something. So when you get pulled off of the anchor, you can note which of the 4 it was. Phenomena, I find, is a very distracting word, so you might want to label it body, feeling, thoughts, stuff. And so the way that works is you're sitting, you notice you're not on the anchor anymore, and you're like, oh, I was thinking. And then that's it. You go back to the anchor. Oh, that was pain in my body. Body. Okay, back to the anchor. Another way to limit down your notes, especially if most of your distraction is thinking distraction, is to label the past, the future, and now. So if you're constantly losing your anchor to thinking, it's useful to be like, oh, did I get pulled by the past? Was I like revisiting or rehashing something that happened before? Did I get pulled by the future? Am I planning what might happen? Or am I here now? And then, like we talked about last week, there is the simplest solution, which is to label anything that pulls you from the anchor, not the breath, not the anchor. You get pulled from the anchor, you think, oh, that's not the anchor. And then you go back to the anchor. Although, please try to say it kindly, like you would say it when you were training a puppy, like, oh, that's not the anchor, right? Kindly, not like you would say it to, I can't think of a thing, not like you would say it to a puppy you hate, like, not the anchor. And you might be worried that if you simplify the note that you won't get the insight, and I can only invite you to trust that, trust the process. The thing will work on its own. If you know what's here and then go back, the insight will come. All right, let's try that a little bit.